At last, it's payday. The last 2 weeks felt like forever. You breathe a little easier knowing you can cover the next cycle. Rent, groceries, fuel, bills. Every fortnight, you check your payslip just to see if there's anything extra. There never is. But there is another number: superannuation. Most young Australians barely glance at it. It doesn't land in your bank account. You can't spend it. You can't touch it for decades. So naturally, it becomes future use problem. But here's what most people don't know. For millions of Aussies, that money isn't even being paid when they assume it is. Right now, employees can legally hold onto your super for months before transferring it. And in some cases, you might never receive the full amount at all. Billions of dollars in super has historically gone unpaid or underpaid across Australia. Money you already earned quietly disappearing in the background. Australia is changing that system entirely. From 1 July 2026, employees will need to pay your super every single payday. Not quarterly, not monthly, every single pay. It sounds like a minor administrative tweak, but this change reveals something much bigger about how wealth is actually built and how easily it can be lost. Australia's entire super system rests on one deceptively simple idea: tiny contributions invested consistently across an entire working life. That's it. Not genius stock picks, not overnight windfalls, just repetition multiplied by time. Here's what that looks like in practice. If you invest just $100 a month from age 25 to 65 with 7% growth per year, you would have over 250,000 from just 48,000 of your own contributions. The rest? That's compounding, doing its work quietly in the background, which is why the timing of those contributions matters far more than most people ever realize, and why the current system has a serious problem. Most Aussies assume when I get paid, my super gets paid too. But under the current system, your wages can arrive weekly, while your super can legally sit unpaid for weeks or even months afterward. And that gap is where billions of dollars goes missing. According to the ATO, billions of dollars in super goes unpaid every year. Sometimes it's deliberate, sometimes it's poor cash flow, it might be messy payroll systems. Whatever the cause, the outcome is always the same. You lose part of your future, often without ever noticing. Many Aussies only discover it years later when they change jobs, check their balance, consolidate accounts, or finally start paying attention. But by then, the real damage often isn't the missing amount itself, it's the time that money wasn't compounding. Because money can be recovered, compounding time can't. Here's what that gap actually costs. Say you and a friend have a salary of 70,000 a year. You're both entitled to 12% super. That's 8,400 a year, or around 323 a fortnight. Your friend's employer pays exactly that every fortnight. Yours pays 310, just $13 less. Barely noticeable, easy to dismiss. But over 40 years at 7% growth, your friend retires with around 1.79 million. You retire with around 1.72 million. That $13 gap, repeated quietly, invisibly across decades, becomes a $70,000 difference. That's the brutal logic of compounding. Small shortfalls don't stay small, they accumulate, they multiply, and they do it completely out of sight. Payday Super is designed to close that gap, not just by speeding up payments, but by making the whole system visible in a way it never has been before. On the surface, Payday Super sounds unexciting. Your employer pays super with every pay run, that's it. But the real shift isn't the frequency, it's the visibility. Under the new system, contribution data will flow to the ATO in near real time. Missing payments can be detected almost immediately, not months later when the damage is already done. You'll see super appear with every pay instead of waiting an entire quarter to notice a problem. That changes behavior. Employees will face far greater pressure to pay correctly and on time because the system will catch errors far faster than before. And for you, super stops feeling like something distant and abstract. It becomes trackable, immediate, harder to ignore. That shift in visibility is one of the most significant changes to how super is managed in a generation. If you're a young Aussie, this change matters more to you than almost anybody else because you already have the single most valuable thing in long term investing: time. If you're 22, Seeing your super paid a few weeks earlier won't change your daily life. You'll still go to work, pay rent, buy groceries, live. But compounding doesn't work in days or even weeks, it works in decades. The biggest outcomes are almost always created by actions that completely felt insignificant in the moment. At first, the differences are microscopic. Then, slowly, they become enormous. And the reverse is equally true. Small delays compound, missed contributions compound, neglect compounds. The earlier it starts, the more time it has. Payday Super will generally improve retirement outcomes for millions of Aussies. But there's a quiet irony in all of this. The more something becomes automated, monitored, and protected on your behalf, the easier it becomes to mentally step back from it. Security can change you. Not suddenly, not dramatically, just slowly, over time, making you stop checking in, stop engaging, stop thinking about it altogether. And that disengagement might feel like nothing at the time. But after 40 years, you'll feel exactly what the price of not paying attention looks like. The people who build real wealth aren't just the ones who benefit from a better system. They're the ones who treated the security of that system as a reason to stay engaged, not a reason to look away.